Are you limited to electrical power when buying shop equipment? Have a great saw or other machine you'd love to add to your shop, but you only have 230 single-phase power? What do? We found a solution, and it flat works. We took a ride out to Hagedorn Racing Engines. Terry was kind enough to show us around his shop and clued us in on how he solved this problem.
Well, when I first opened this shop down here, Union Electric wanted $100,000 to run three-phase down to this shop. And
how much?
$100,000. That was back in the early 80s.
Is there some computer program you can program and then plug this in?
Well,
or
I
you
can
do it all
turn it
through
on
this?
and I can kind of run through a setup with you.
If you want, if you got time.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's pretty quiet. So this thing runs on what? 220 three-phase? Or?
Yes. 223 phase, which American Rotary has got our phase converter program up to speed. It's computer friendly, it's quiet.
So pure sine wave, probably
Guaranteed not to harm any of your electronics.
So the solution that worked for Terry was a phase converter by American Rotary. It all comes down to the equipment you need to run. Single phase power requires two wires to complete the circuit, the conductor and the neutral. The conductor carries the current and the neutral is the return path of the current. Single phase supplies voltage up to 230 volts. Three phase consists of four wires, three conductors and one neutral. The conductors are out of phase for voltage up to 415 volts. So how does a phase converter work? A phase converter uses a motor to convert single-phase electricity, typically what you get from the power company, into three-phase power required by many different types of heavy-duty equipment. A rotary phase converter is more sophisticated and creates true three-phase power, often more precise than what you get from the power company. We put links to American Rotary in the description below. They've got a full-featured website that explains all this in a lot more detail than I'm going to be able to do in this video. Plus, they're smarter than I am.
So we had a phase converter, which is behind you over there on the floor, running our mill and a few other little pieces. Well, when we put the nicer equipment in, we needed a better phase converter. Well, I contacted American Rotary, and the guy actually kind of knew me from the world of truck pulling. He kind of liked truck and tractor pulling. We discussed a few things, and they gave me a sponsorship and furnished me with their ADX.
Wow.
Rotary system, and it's amazing. I mean, it works nice.
Well, and let's just talk about it. We'll see how this video turns out, but we're standing here right next to it talking.
Right.
You know, and it's your air conditioner in the other room's louder than this.
Right. I mean, it's just amazing on how quiet it is.
This would have to be one of them.
This is one of the top pieces of equipment that makes horsepower.
Gotcha.
I've been doing motors for 30 years. We probably increased our motor quality more in the last 7 years than we have since I started, just by the equipment that we're using. Would be in the mid 40s. You're going to spend another $10,000-$15,000 to get it equipped so you can actually use it.
Wow. Providing you already have enough electricity to run it.
Right, and thanks to American Rotary, we can run it anytime we want. Just push the button.
Okay. As Terry mentioned, American Rotary really stepped up and helped his shop and sponsored his pulling truck. I will say they are not a sponsor of this channel, or we haven't gotten any money to talk about this. We just thought it was a really cool solution to a really tough problem. Since the early 2000s, American Rotary has been making custom engineered components here in the USA. They've got an in-house R&D, engineering, manufacturing, and probably the most important in my book, tech support. But before you head over to the website or call them, you need to have an understanding of what you need. Your equipment manufacturer should be able to give you that. You know, things like size of the load, motor size, amperage, that kind of thing. American Rotary has a cool, easy-to-use phase converter wizard that lets you plug in a few variables, and it will help you design what you need. Or better yet, just give the phone number to your electrician and have them call American Rotary. I'm sure they'll be glad to help you out. I also stumbled across a video from DiResta, a maker I'm sure many of you watch on YouTube. He is running one of these in his shop and is raving about it. I'll put a link to that in the description below as well. So thanks for coming along with us out to Hagedorn Racing Engines. We've got several videos coming up that are going to cover his pulling trucks and what he actually does in his shop. Be sure and hit like and subscribe so you don't miss those episodes, because they're going to be really, really cool. In the meantime, get out in your shop and make something.